I stood in line with the other graduates, smiling too hard. My hands kept squeezing my diploma folder like a shield. I scanned the auditorium for my parents, again and again. Every family section looked full. Every row had signs, flowers, phones held up to record. And the seats that should have been mine stayed empty. My phone buzzed once. For a second, I thought it was my mom. It was a photo tag from my aunt instead. My brother Ryan was in our backyard, grinning like a king. There was a grill, loud music, and a cheap congrats banner. Not for me. For a barbecue he threw for his friends. I felt my stomach drop so hard it scared me. This wasn't a delay. This wasn't traffic. This was a choice. My name is Catherine Miller. I'm 26 years old. And today was supposed to be the highlight of my life. 8 years of late nights, loans, exams, and sacrifices. The day I finally got to walk that stage and breathe. But when my name was called, I walked alone. Because what happened next wasn't just painful. It was the moment I realized my family didn't forget me. They organized their whole day around not showing up. Before we go on, tell me where you're listening from. A quiet kitchen, a parked car, or a room you finally have to yourself. This is Echoes of Life, and you're not alone here. After the ceremony, the lawn became a celebration I wasn't in. Families hugged, posed, and held flowers like trophies. I stood near the curb, diploma case clutched tight. I called my mom, voicemail. Then my phone buzzed with a notification from my aunt. A new photo, tagged, public, cheerful. Ryan was in our backyard, grinning like a champion. A huge congrats banner hung behind him. He wasn't graduating from anything. It was just a barbecue. The timestamp matched the moment my name was called. My throat closed. Not because they forgot, because they chose. I sat in my car and stared at my hands. 8 years of work, and I still felt invisible. I tried to invent excuses, traffic, parking, anything. But the post was the explanation. I called again. Someone picked up. Music blasted through the line. Then I heard my mom's voice, bright and busy. Hold on, let me get a picture of the guest of honor. Not me. I ended the call before she noticed. The screen went black, and my reflection looked cracked. Makeup perfect. Smile gone. Eyes swollen with restraint. Back at my apartment, I set the cap down gently. I opened the family group chat and scrolled for years. Ryan's games, Ryan's wins, Ryan's crises. My achievements squeezed in like footnotes. That's when the plan stopped being a fantasy. If I stayed in Boston, I'd keep shrinking myself. So I opened my laptop and wrote it out. Lease, savings, job applications, distance. A clean break, not a dramatic speech. Then I texted Emma Torres. I'm leaving. I need a reset. Is your couch open? Her reply came fast. Yes, San Francisco. Come. And for the first time all day, I breathed. I didn't stay for photos after the ceremony ended today. I drove home with my gown still brushing the seat. My stomach felt hollow, like something important was missing. That night, I packed with quiet, angry discipline alone. I chose what fit and what I truly needed. Laptop, diploma, documents, and enough clothes for weeks. Before sunrise, I started driving west without a plan. Boston faded behind me like a chapter I outgrew. Highways blurred, and my thoughts kept looping painfully. Still, beneath the hurt, I felt something like control. Emma met me in San Francisco like a steady lifeline. She didn't defend my mother or blame my feelings. She just said, "You're safe here," and meant it. The first week was logistics, shock, and restless sleep. I changed my emergency contact to Emma Torres immediately. I updated my bank address and every workplace form. I stopped refreshing my phone for messages that wouldn't come. I applied everywhere, even jobs that felt above me. Some interviews came fast, and some rejections came faster. I kept going anyway, because going back meant shrinking. 3 weeks later, I got an offer at last. A mid-sized startup building tools for city planning teams. It wasn't glamorous, but it was mine to keep. Then, on a Tuesday afternoon, an email arrived suddenly. The subject line said, "Estate of Margaret Hayes." My grandmother's name made my stomach drop instantly. She had passed 2 weeks earlier, quietly and peacefully. There would be a small service back in Boston. Attached were statements, instructions, and a personal note. Grandma had saved money for my degree and graduation. That fund sat under my mother's control for years. Most of it was gone when I read the statements. Withdrawals matched Ryan's emergencies, trips, and sudden expenses. Then I saw the lie that broke me open. Grandma wrote she felt relieved about my graduation plans. She believed Mom said I didn't want a ceremony. My mother didn't just skip my graduation that day. She edited it out of the family story completely. I sat on Emma's couch, reading those pages again. I didn't feel dramatic, or young, or confused anymore. I felt clear in a way that scared me. My mom hadn't forgotten my milestone in chaos. She had rewritten it and spent what was meant for me. If this were your family, what would you do? Comment 1 if you'd stay quiet, walk away, and protect your peace. Comment 2 if you'd pull the receipts, tell the truth, and stop being edited. Because what I did next wasn't a breakdown at all. It was a decision, and it changed everything after. Boston felt smaller the day I buried Grandma. The air was sharp, the sky low, like judgment. I stood at the cemetery edge, hands shaking. I wasn't here to repair things with my mother, Linda. I was here to say goodbye to my only witness. After the service, everyone crowded into her house. Paper plates, casseroles, stories, forced sympathy. Relatives praised my mom for holding it together. I heard my name spoken like a rumor, not a person. Catherine didn't even want a ceremony, my aunt said. Linda told Grandma Kathy preferred dinner later, another added. My throat went tight. That lie had traveled farther than I did. I walked into the living room and said, "That's not true." The room turned toward me like a single animal. My mom froze, then tried to smile. "Kathy, this isn't the time," she whispered. "When is the time?" I asked, steady. "You skipped my graduation for Ryan's barbecue. You told Grandma I didn't want anyone there." I set a folder on the coffee table, careful. The estate lawyer sent these, Grandma's instructions. Hands reached for the pages. Bank statements slid across the wood like knives. Withdrawals lined up with Ryan's emergencies. Car repairs. Trips. A failed venture. A party banner. My mom's face drained as the dates landed. She tried to laugh it off. "You're always dramatic," she said to the room. I didn't look at her. I looked at my uncle and asked, "Did you know?" He swallowed hard and said, "Linda, is this real?" I turned on the TV. No music, no captions, just timestamps and truth. First, me alone on the empty stage. Then my mom laughing beside my brother under "Congrats, Grad." Silence filled the house like smoke. "I didn't run away," I said. "I walked out of a story she kept editing. She erased me first, then called it love." My mother finally spoke, voice cracking. "I did what I had to for this family." "No," I said. "You did what kept you comfortable." Then I opened a second folder. Emergency contacts changed, beneficiaries removed, and I filed a name change. I'm taking Grandma's maiden name. After today, I won't be your daughter on paper, and I won't argue about it ever again. A cup dropped somewhere behind me. My mom stared, realizing there'd be no apology later. I shut the folder, picked up my bag, and walked out. At the door, I looked back once. "Goodbye, Mom," I said. "You taught me how to disappear." Then I closed it, and let the silence do the rest. The flight back to San Francisco felt quieter than my anger. Clouds passed, and I tried to hear Grandma's voice again. Emma picked me up without questions. She handed me coffee and drove like it was normal. That night, I opened the folder at my kitchen table. Not for drama, for follow-through. Because boundaries are paperwork, not speeches. The name change was already filed. Now I tightened every loose thread. Bank access, HR records, insurance, beneficiaries, emergency contacts, two-factor recovery numbers. Anything my mother could still reach. The next morning, I went to the bank downtown. The clerk asked if I needed anything else. I said, "Remove my mother from everything." He nodded, checked my ID, and typed quietly. At my doctor's office, I updated forms too. In case of emergency, I wrote Emma Torres. Then I left the mother line blank on purpose. The blank looked cleaner than any explanation. At work, I stayed steady all week. I shipped features and sat through meetings. But grief hid behind ordinary tasks. It sat under my ribs like an empty cup. Back home, the fallout moved fast. My uncle texted once, "Your mom is furious." My aunt texted once, "I didn't know. I'm sorry." Ryan didn't text at all. That silence said plenty. On day 3, my mother tried a new door. An email from an address I didn't recognize. No greeting, no accountability. Just pressure dressed up as concern. She said I embarrassed the family at a funeral. She said grief makes people act out. She said Grandma would hate this conflict. Then she asked for a private conversation. Like privacy could erase what I'd proven. I read it twice and felt only fatigue, not guilt. Fatigue from years of performing calm. So I built a system instead of a reply. A filter caught her name and favorite phrases. Everything went into a folder called Archive. No notifications, no badges, no hooks. That weekend, I opened my photo library. Not to erase the past, to stop lying about it. I deleted the pictures where I was background scenery. I kept the ones that were actually mine. Study tables, city mornings, Emma laughing over midnight noodles, and Grandma's hands folded over mine. Emma found me taping a shoebox shut. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm not okay," I said. "But I'm not confused anymore." That was the shift. Not rage, clarity with a pulse. I wasn't punishing my mother. I was refusing to be edited again. By Sunday night, my new last name felt real. Not a weapon. A doorway. A line that said, "I belong to myself now." 2 weeks later, my new ID arrived in the mail. Catherine Hayes. Black letters. No apology attached. I stared at it longer than I expected. Not because I missed her. Because I finally saw the break in permanent ink. My mother tried one more time. A message through a cousin. She's worried. She's heartbroken. She wants to talk. I didn't answer the message. I answered my life. I went to work. I met Emma for lunch. I called the lawyer handling Grandma's estate. I asked one question that mattered. What's left and what's mine? What was left wasn't just money. It was proof. A paper trail that matched my memories. No more gaslighting. No more, "You're dramatic." Just dates, withdrawals, and choices in plain text. That night, I opened the shoebox again. I didn't throw it away. I just put it where it belonged. In the back of the closet, not the front of my mind. People think revenge is a big scene. For me, it was quiet consistency. The same way she erased me, I stepped out. Not to punish her, to stop abandoning myself. And here's the truth I learned too late. Love that only shows up when you behave isn't love. It's control with a softer name. I still miss my grandmother. I don't miss being invisible. If this story hit something in you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories on Echoes of Life. And if you've ever been the easy child, the one expected to understand forever, tell me you made it out too.